Welcome to episode 24 of the Feed Your Soul with Kim podcast. Today we talk about confidence with my friend, Erin Summ. We talk about how her work with kids and out-of-home placement, as well as her work with passion parties, has led her to increase her confidence. She knows firsthand how to increase confidence and stop shrinking your dream. Let's get started. Welcome to the Feed Your Soul with Kim podcast. I'm Kim McLaughlin, your host, and today my friend Erin Summ is with us. She is our first guest on our Feed Your Soul with Kim podcast, and I'm super excited. Let me let you know who she is before we go into this more with her. She's an international confidence consultant, sought-after speaker, author of Stand Up and Shine, a 60-day confidence discovery journal, and co-author of Catch Your Star. She hosts her own events and retreats supporting women business owners to get past their own fears, gain confidence, and make more money. She's been seen on Morning Blend on ABC 10 in Sacramento. Erin's been on her own journey from shy to confident since 2008. She used to be so fearful of being seen and heard in school. The thought of alone of being asked a question gave her major anxiety and she'd chicken out. But her vision was always bigger than her fears. Erin holds a bachelor's degree in psychology and is a certified professional coach. That's the thing. Hi, Erin.
Hi, Kim. Thanks for having me.
Oh my God. Thank you for being my very, very first guest. I'm so excited to have you on. And you have a lot of great stuff to share. So could we start like give us the lowdown about why confidence, why you, and why should we all be interested in it?
Yeah. Well, I thought I'd start by telling you my story of how I went from being shy to confident. Like you said in my intro, in college even, I was so shy that I didn't want to be seen or heard. And so I would panic at the thought of asking a question and raising my hand. So I never actually would ask the question. Even as a little girl, I remember having this passion and this fire in my belly to make a difference and to put myself out there. My vision was always bigger than my fears. And so going forward, I went to college and got a psychology degree and went to work in a group home with foster kids after that because I was very passionate about making a difference and helping people. But I wasn't feeling really fulfilled with that. And at one point, I had gone to a few network marketing parties, the in-home parties. Mm-hmm. And one day, the woman kept asking me, would you like to join my team? And I was like, oh, absolutely not. That is not for me. I am not a salesperson. I don't speak in front of people. And one day something shifted for me and I called her up and I said, I want to join your team. And that was a really, really huge leap outside my comfort zone because, as I said, I would panic just thinking about asking a question in class. In college, what made me think I could stand up in front of groups of women and talk and sell products? But not only was I going to be selling things and speaking in front of groups, I was actually going to be doing passion parties.
Tell the folks what in general layman's terms, what is a passion party, Erin?
Yeah, so passion party, it's an in-home party for women, and we actually sell romance enhancers. So lotions, potions, things that go buzz in the night, things that require batteries. So that was a really giant leap outside my comfort zone, as you can imagine, but I did it for a reason. I did it because I knew deep down that I needed to get outside my comfort zone and to expand myself and grow my confidence if I wanted to fulfill my vision of making a bigger difference in the world.
So I just find it so interesting. I've heard your story before, and we have a similar background in terms of psychology and working with high-level kids in out-of-home placement. And so I've always felt like I connected with you. And when I had heard that story before, I thought, oh, that's why. Talk about really, there are two things you mentioned there about confidence. One is psychology, which means we kind of explore ourselves when we're in the psychology realm at school, but also working with kids in out-of-home placement. How did they help you increase your confidence?
Ooh, that's a good question. Nobody's ever asked me that, Kim.
Because I used to do the work. I know what it's like.
Yeah, it's very challenging. And I think they did help me increase my confidence in the fact that I had to set boundaries and I had to, be able to say no and be able to teach them about life as well, because they didn't have their own parents anymore, or at least they weren't in their life on a day-to-day basis to teach them about life and how things go and help them with schooling and all the stuff that a parent would do. So I had to essentially step in and be their parent, which gave me a lot more confidence in myself and my abilities as a person, to be able to support them in their lives and help them go through all the things that they had to go through as well, being in the foster care system.
I just find that interesting because I did the same work when I was, through a lot of my career, but I started when I was like 21. So I was really close to their age.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting when I think back about the confidence that I gained from them, because that's really what I really target as one of my main confidence builders is those kids teaching me. I mean, through them, I learned limit setting. I learned how to say no. I learned how to say yes. I learned how to communicate. I learned how you can healthily express anger and not. And so I find it interesting because I think you ended up being drawn to things that actually helped you increase your confidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had never thought about the group home as helping me with increasing my confidence, but yeah, that's true.
Well, but it seems like you've been, for as hard as it was, I was never that shy where, I mean, I didn't want to be called on, but if you called on me, I'd talk and I could kind of get over myself, but I was never really, really shy. And I just find it interesting that you did, you felt drawn to being a group home counselor, and you also felt drawn to really stretch out and go into passion parties. How was it then that passion parties helped you increase your confidence?
Yeah. Well, so I had to get in front of women and sell products. I had to, a passion party can get pretty rowdy, if you could imagine. The women are typically drinking and they're there to have a really great time. It's different than, say, a candle party or a jewelry party. It just has this different energy about it. So I had to wrangle people in a lot. They would get crazy or they would be really loud and laughing about things. And sometimes I really had to wrangle them. And I was reminded the other day on my Facebook memories that I actually did some bar parties as well. So I would go into bars and have a separate room, and I would have to wrangle drunk people as well. God.
For passion parties, you had
passion parties. Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
Oh, wow.
So that was really a bold, confident move, even though, a lot of it was having to fake it till I made it, right? I had to pretend to be more confident than I really was. On the inside, I was probably like freaking out, but I had to really boost that confidence in the moment in order to get people to pay attention and take me seriously. As unserious as it was at times, right? I mean, there were times where I was teaching about sexuality and their bodies as well, helping them to improve their relationships. But it was also a lot of fun, right? There was a lot of joking and things like that. So I really had to fake it till I made it. Mm-hmm. And, it's been 11 years that I've been building my confidence on purpose, constantly getting outside my comfort zone. But that business really helped me because I was in front of people constantly. I was speaking, and I'm a speaker now. So that really helped me boost confidence in terms of my speaking. And I built a team too. So I became a leader. Mm-hmm. And it really helped me to recognize how much I really loved empowering women. So that was a really huge thing for me as well.
Erin, I think sometimes when I think about confidence, I don't always think everybody has the same definition, or kind of like, can you give us some like a definition, but also examples? Because I think it shows up in different ways that maybe people don't recognize that it's confidence, but they might call it just shyness, but there's a lack of confidence. So kind of what's a definition and how does it show up for people, maybe for you and also for other people that you work with?
Yeah. So for me, let me start with most people, I think when they think about confidence is they're thinking about outer confidence. They're thinking about how someone shows up in a room or how someone portrays themselves or how they look on the outside, which is true. But when I talk about confidence, I'm really talking about that deep down in your core, knowing that you're amazing, that you're enough, that you're worthy, that you are, that you love yourself on a deep level. So it's not just, putting on a cute new outfit where you're feeling confident on the outside, or getting a haircut and feeling confident because you have a new look. This is the deep down, I am confident, I believe in myself, I love myself, I'm totally worthy and deserving of everything I want. That's what I'm talking about when I'm referring to confidence. And
so how does it show up? So how might somebody know if they're lacking confidence? Like what are some examples of what that might look like? I mean, you gave an example of not being able to answer a question, hiding your face in class. I can see lots of people doing that. They look down so that they're not asked a question, but how might it also show up for people?
Yeah. So I see it show up in things like hustling for worthiness, which means I need another degree behind my name before I can start this thing, or I need to get more certifications or more education before I can start this project or this business or whatever it is that they're trying to do. It's getting more letters or certifications or trainings. It could be shrinking your dream. So maybe you have a really big vision and big dream, and then you think, but I can't have that. That's not for me. And you shrink it to fit what you feel worthy of or deserving of. Mm-hmm. Things like that. Perfectionism can hinder your confidence as well.
Hi, everyone. This is Kim, and my book is out. Feed Your Soul, Nourish Your Life, a 6-step system to peace with food is live. I recommend you get it. It has all my 6 components of feeding your soul, as well as my own story. Pick it up now. You can find it on my website at feedyoursoulunlimited.com. Thanks. We had a conversation, I think, a couple weeks ago, and I was really struck by a couple of things that you said, and you said it again today, and I really like it, is the idea of getting that deep down confidence. To me, that sounds like that core belief of yourself, that it's not a superficial kind of affirmation. I am confident, but like, I believe in the depth of my soul. I am confident. I am worthy. I am enough just the way I am right now. And that, I think, is a really marvelous place to go when people are thinking of how might they, work with their confidence, because that lasts for forever. That's not a superficial Band-Aid.
Right. Exactly. When you have a deep, unconditional love for yourself, that is everlasting. That doesn't go away.
How does confidence show up in perfectionism?
So perfectionism, first of all, perfectionism is a shield to keep us safe. So we think when we have fears of being judged, criticized, when we have fears of having haters, for example, we can put on that perfectionism mask, thinking that if we're perfect, nobody can judge us or criticize us or make fun of us or be a hater. But really, it's just keeping us safe. It's like a mask to keep us safe. And the perfectionism, there is no perfect, really. Nobody is perfect. And that perfectionism keeps us safe and small and not, out of our confidence, really.
Yeah, because I that is the word I hear so many people saying. And it wasn't until I talked to you that I really connected the idea of perfectionism with confidence. But I think the perfectionism shows up a lot. Like, it's got to be perfect before I start a business or before I go out or before I do anything. And that I love what you said. It shields us and it makes us think we're safe, but we're really not. We're really holding back from our greatness.
Right. It keeps us small and hidden as well. If you're trying to get everything perfect and nothing's ever perfect, then you're never going to put your stuff out there, right? If you're trying to start a business or try to start speaking or writing a book, whatever it is that you're doing, and you're in that perfectionism mode, that's a way to keep yourself from moving forward, for staying safe, right?
Yeah, and that you'll just never get anything done. That's why I
Mm-hmm.
find we stay stuck, and we stay stuck like in one spot.
Right. And we don't feel worthy if it's not perfect, or we don't feel good enough if it's not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, there is no perfect. So done is better than perfect. Get it done, get it out there, and keep moving forward. That perfectionism is just holding you back from getting anywhere, from moving forward in your business.
Yeah, I love that. Done is better than perfect. It
Mm-hmm.
just really kind of puts it, just get it out, and don't hold back. But I know, I mean, I remember you had, I love what you said, is it that you might be shielded from haters, from people saying negative things. So like, I might put myself out, it might not feel perfect, and somebody might criticize me. So how do you start managing all of that? Like, let's just say I do start putting myself out and I do start doing things, how do I manage it when it feels super duper uncomfortable?
Just keep your eye on your vision. That's what I tell people is, what is it that you really, really want? Because I'm uncomfortable a lot of the time. I live in my uncomfort zone, really, because because I have a big vision, because I want to help a lot of women. And so I'm constantly putting myself outside of my comfort zone. I do things like Facebook Live videos. That's not always comfortable to me. It looks comfortable when I'm on video, but it doesn't, feel comfortable all the time. It's outside my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always doing things to build my confidence and to get outside my comfort zone, because I have a big vision to support a lot of women with building their confidence and feeling really amazing about themselves. So give yourself some mantras if you need to. You can tell yourself you're confident. You can tell yourself you're valuable, you're amazing, I love myself. Give yourself some powerful mantras to support you in doing those things that feel uncomfortable. Getting outside your comfort zone. Visualize yourself being, if you have a vision, visualize yourself having reached that vision, moving forward towards that vision, being bold, putting yourself out there. Visualize how that feels and how good it feels. And then that's going to help change your brain and help you feel more confident over time.
So it's like, it sounds like it's first noticing that you're lacking the confidence and that you're having struggles, and then visioning how you'd like it to be, in order to get, your body and your brain doesn't know if it's real or not, if you're thinking it.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you
Right.
get yourself to believe it, and then you start acting in a way that manifests it or brings it into your life.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Somebody said something, I'm probably going to say it wrong, but essentially we can visualize. Visualization is really, really wonderful for changing the brain, changing, making you feel more grateful, feeling more confident. But until you actually do the action, until you make the steps and take action, that's what's really going to build your confidence. So you can visualize yourself picking up the phone or doing a speech or, being a bestseller, whatever it is that you're looking to do. You can visualize yourself in that moment, which is going to give you more confidence to actually do that thing.
Mm-hmm.
But until you actually take the action to do the things that you're wanting to do, your confidence that's what's really going to build the confidence, is the action.
I think that's super important, because a lot of times I think that goes back to the perfectionism of just being in your head about it. Like, oh, I think I'm going to do it, or I'll visualize it. But there literally is a point where you have to put your feet on the ground, put your hand out, say, hi, I'm Kim. Hi, I'm Erin. Or, I'm going to do this. And you physically get on the phone, or you physically go and do it. And that we can't visualize ourselves into something if we don't then take that action.
One of the things that I still struggle with is phone calls,
Mm-hmm.
follow up, sales calls, things like that. And so before I get on the phone, I visualize the purpose of the call, how I want to feel on the call, how the people are going to respond to me when they answer the phone, that they're going to be happy to hear from me. So I get into that excited state. I might do a little dance. I might put on a song that I really like and do a little, have some fun to raise my energy. And then, so that helps me pick up the phone. That helps get rid of some of the fear. And then making the phone calls, though, is what really gives me the confidence. So the more phone calls I make, the more confident I am around it. But you have to get yourself into that mind frame too.
It's just interesting because I really so believe this. Like, it's not just about the knowledge or the being introspective and kind of understanding it all. It's then going out and saying so and seeing yourself doing it, but actually getting in the action and getting in the flow is a key piece about moving out of problems, most especially with confidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. One of the things Jim Carrey said, he probably know this story, but he visualized himself getting a big movie gig, and he wrote himself a $10 million check, and then he manifested Dumb and Dumber for $10 million, like right a few days within when that he had written that check to himself. But he says, you can't just visualize and then go eat a sandwich, right? Like, you have to visualize and then go do something about it. You have to take that action to move yourself forward.
I used to think of that when I was in the dating mode, and I would think that, I kept thinking that some guy would literally, I thought that they should just show up on, if I visioned it enough, they would just show up on my doorstep. I guess maybe it happens, but what I realize is that you've got to visualize it and then do the footwork. You've got to go out and literally make enough phone calls, see enough people, go on enough dates, put yourself out there enough to make it happen. And I think it's the same thing of what you're talking about, that I used to get caught up in that idea of, well, if I just visualize it, if I just own it, but you've got to do the next step of the action.
Right.
So I think people, will think that maybe this is easy for you and me because we're here on this podcast and we've got it all going on. But I want to know, like, if we were going to I love to give people doables, an idea about how they can start moving into that idea of increasing their confidence. Like, if they're listening to this, they probably already think they have maybe a confidence problem. How do they start getting into the visualizing part and then the doing part?
Yeah. So one of the things I do at my visioning workshops is I ask the group, what is it that they want? And I have them partner up and just ask each other, or if they're by themselves at home, you can ask yourself, what do I want? And just keep asking yourself. And the more you ask, the deeper you're going to get into what you really truly want in your heart, in your soul, right?
Yeah.
And so look at that. What is it that I really, really want? Create that vision for yourself in your life, and then start going after it. What's the first step you can take? And, at the beginning, I told you about my huge leap outside my comfort zone. You don't have to take a huge leap to get started. You can take a baby step. You don't have to, you don't have to
throw yourself
go up
and have a passion or work with emotionally disturbed kids in out-of-home placement, right?
Right. Yeah. You can take a baby step. One of my coaches says tiny hinges swing big doors. So a tiny little baby step, the more baby steps you take, the bigger, you're going to swing that big door. You're going to make a big difference in your life, even if you're just taking baby steps. And if you feel like taking a big leap, do that too. It's scary, but it's very exciting at the same time. So vision, look at your vision. What is it that you truly, truly want? Don't shrink it. Grow it. Grow that vision. Ask for what you really want, and then take a baby step. Just keep taking baby steps.
I just had a question about that. Oh, I know what it was. It's interesting to me because the thing that you talked about what moved you forward, and actually I could say the same thing for myself, is that there's been these moments of intuition where you just think, how I heard it from you, like, I just had this idea. You said this, I want to play bigger. I want to be helping more women. I want to be out there more. And I've had that same vision, is like that certain things I want to do. And my podcast, actually, that was a vision of mine. And I think that possibly a lot of people have visions that they do diminish, that they don't even listen to. Do you find that that's so, that it's not even something people have to move too far off of to try and figure out what they want. But it's really, what have you been thinking about you want to do?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said towards the beginning, is a lot of times when we don't feel worthy or deserving of the thing that we want, we'll go, oh, I really want this thing. And then we go, oh, but I can't have that. I'm not worthy of that, or I haven't worked hard enough for that. We tend to have these thoughts. That's the next thought after I really want this thing. Like, for example, a new car. Maybe someone really wants a new car, but then they think, oh, but really I just can afford door handles, And so they don't envision the thing that they really want. They don't keep that vision in focus. They shrink it, and then they take what they can get. They settle. They settle for good enough versus here's what I really want.
So how do you deal with that? If like you have this idea of what you want and it feels like a big audacious goal, and then you start thinking about how to move into it and then shrink back, say I'm not worthy of it, kind of what are some keys that can help somebody move into, move into that idea of greatness?
Yeah. Well, and you can start smaller, you can build upon that, but I want you to at least take one thing and just keep focusing on that and going, I can have this. I deserve this. I'm worthy of this. Get a coach too that can help you. Lean on someone else's belief in you. That's really very, very helpful. Get a coach or a mentor or a friend who believes in you when you don't believe in yourself, because they can say, you absolutely can have and do that. Let me support you, right? And they can be a sounding board and to support you in creating the things that you want. But maybe create a vision board. That's what I teach and I do every year, is I create a vision board. And, there are things on my vision board that I'm not even close to, but they're on there because I have a big dream and a big vision for being able to have that someday.
I like that. So it's about when you're not feeling, you have a little intuition that you want to do something, that if you feel like you're holding yourself back, to lean on somebody. I love that. Lean on someone's belief in you and seek out some kind of coach, a therapist, a wise person, an older person, a peer. I think also the other thing is that whoever you lean on, whether you pay them like a coach or a therapist or you don't, like a friend, they have to be really positive and really, really on board with really encouraging you.
Yeah. Make sure that person, like you said, is very encouraging, and they don't, they're not a dream stealer. So in other words, they don't say, well, are you sure you can have that? That's pretty risky. Well, who do you think you are to have that, right? Make sure that they are completely supportive of you and they're not trying to talk you off the ledge or, talk you down.
Well, and
that's
so
really
then notice, so then I think the other piece would be is that possibly you don't think they're a dream stealer, but then if they do start saying, no, are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure you can do that? That maybe it's time to set a boundary with them and go on to the next person and see who can support you in your big vision.
Yes, absolutely. Take notice when someone is kind of trying to talk you out of your dream, and set the boundary, like you said, and take time away from them as much as possible, or don't share with them your dreams. Share with them with someone else so that you can be supported. Sometimes we have people in our lives that we can't get away from. Maybe they are, family. You can still be discerning about what you share with them.
Yeah. I was thinking of what just came to me is sometimes I'll share with my husband some of my dreams, and a dream for a bigger house. I want a house with a pool. And sometimes he'll get into his fear and say, we can't do that. We can't do that. And what I'll talk to him about is that I really just want him, how it could help me is if he's in the question of, rather than we can't, how can we make this happen? And that if we're both in the question of how could it happen, there's nobody stealing a dream, but it feels more supportive of how can we make this happen rather than, no, there's no way we could do that.
Right. That's a really good question to ask too, is how can we make that happen? And in a positive way, not a, well, how can we make that happen? Right. But it's a, well, how could we make that happen? Maybe we can't do it tomorrow or, in 6 months, but how could we make that happen in 2020 or whatever, right? How can we make that happen? How can I do that?
And also, which is a step in that direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to say that I'm going to, earn $1 million next year, I'm not really sure. And so, somebody could say, well, Kim, that's not very realistic. Well, but we could talk about how could I increase my business? How could I look at my investments? And what could I do to move in that direction? Like you were talking about with the whole vision plan, the visioning in the future. Time's all relative, and it might not be in a year, but it might be, in the coming years.
Right. What's the next best step I can take? Right.
Right. What's the next best step I can take?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, there's so much goodness in all of this. I love it. There are so many good takeaways. If we were going to do, Erin, what we like to do at the end of the podcast is we like to do a doable for the week. If you were going to just throw out a doable for people, something I like to have them get into action, just like you talked about, where we could do something this week to move ourselves towards confidence in a way that is that will really get us going in the right direction. What might be one doable? I know I didn't ask you about this in advance. I hope you give me for just bringing it up.
I'm thinking like there's so many things. So they can start with creating a mantra. If they're feeling unworthy or undeserving, they can just start with a simple mantra of I am worthy of everything that I desire. They can start there. They can start with taking one step towards their vision and looking at what is my vision, right? Asking that question that I said earlier, which was, what do I want? What do I really want? And like I said earlier, the more you ask that question, the deeper you're going to get and the deeper into the root of what you really want you'll get. And just what is the next step I can take or the first baby step I can take to get there?
Okay. So what I get, so the doable for this week is to create a mantra, something like I am worthy. I have everything. I can have everything I desire. So that's one. And then the other is keep asking, what's my next step? What's my next right step? What's the next thing for me? And just see what comes up. We're just asking the question. And so that's part of the being in action is beginning to open up that awareness for what is the next step. It doesn't have to be hard. It's just something to get you moving in that forward momentum.
Right. We can get into overwhelm when we look at the big picture, right? So just asking, what is the next simple thing that I can do? What is the next small step I can take to get you into action and moving forward? And focus, think about when you're in that mode of your vision and all of that, what is it that you want? Start paying attention to the thoughts. Is it negative or is it positive? If it's negative, change it into something positive. A lot of times we go, well, what if I can't? What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? Change it to, what if I am good enough? What if I am amazing? What if I'm super successful, right? Change those negative into positives. That's really a great way to change your thinking and your mindset and your behavior.
I love that. What if I can't do it? Well, what if I could? What if I am good enough? What if I do have everything I need? Wow. Those give me little shivers as you just said that. That's really great.
Yeah. For most of us, our first knee-jerk reaction is to go to negative. So
how about our knee-jerk be, let's go to positive? Wow. How can I make that happen?
Yes,
wow.
Exactly.
That sounds fun.
I love
That's super cool. Erin, how can people get a hold of you? And I know you have a freebie for everybody. How can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, so they can go to my website, erinsumm.com, ERINSUMM.com, or they can get my freebie 7 Secrets to Lasting Confidence for More Clients and Money in the Bank at erinsumm.com/7 secrets.
Okay. I really hope you guys take Erin up on all this. She is super helpful. She does run retreats as we're taping this. She has a retreat coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm not sure we'll get this up and loaded before she has a retreat, but I suspect she'll have many more in the future. So you really need to get on her newsletter list so you can know when she's having retreats to really delve deeply into that transformation into that confident person you want to be.
Yes. And I just thought too, as well, I can invite everyone to my Confident Women community on Facebook. It's a group. It's free. I do videos and daily posts and things like that in there. So they just go to confidentwomancommunity.com and they can find it on Facebook.
Okay,
as well.
I'll make sure to put that in. I'm putting a note for myself. I'm going to make sure to put that in the show notes for everyone so you guys can just have a direct link to that plus Erin's website and her 7 secrets. Erin, I thank you so much for being here today. I love talking to you. This is always so helpful. And as much as I think I'm confident, I have a lot to learn. And I
Don't
love
we
your
all? Yeah.
I
Don't
love
you?
your inspiration. And this has been so fun. Thank you for being my very first podcast guest. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Kim.
Okay, we're going to say goodbye and we'll see you all next week on the podcast. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us on the Feed Your Soul with Kim podcast. We come to you every Monday with fresh new ideas to help you end emotional eating and put food in its proper place as nourishment. Please be sure to subscribe to this podcast and review it and let us know what you think. Thank you for joining us.